Dear students, welcome to the EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Rajkishore Sharma, an Associate Professor from Chemistry Department of Delhi University. Today, we are going to discuss about the module OJ electron spectroscopy and introduction. It would be the introduction to OJ electron spectroscopy. This comes under the paper of Surface Analytical Techniques 2. Outlines of the topics that we are going to discuss today. We will discuss history of it, representations of OJ electron, principles of OJ electron spectroscopy, then we'll discuss kinetic energy of OJ electron, we'll discuss significance of OJ electrons, we'll discuss the spectra of AES, we'll discuss the effect of backscattered electrons, and at last we'll discuss advantages and disadvantages of OJ electron spectroscopy. Firstly, the OJ electrons were discovered by Lise Meitner in 1923, but the name OJ was given at a later stage after the name of French physicist Pierre Auger. French physicist Pierre Victor Auger independently studied this phenomena and reported in the journal Radium in 1925. For a long time, OJ electrons were considered as an unwanted side effect in practical X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy. Corrected theoretical explanation of OJ electron was given by Auger in his doctoral thesis in 1926. Then, in 1953, electron-excited OJ electrons were used by J. Lander to study surface impurities. He obtained OJ peaks, which he observed as a secondary electron emission spectrum of electron-irradiated solids. However, intensity of OJ peaks was very low for practical analysis. L. Harris demonstrated the high sensitivity, attainable, and practicality of this technique for surface analysis in 1968. And around the same time, Weber and Perea used light-emitted electron diffraction optics, that is, LEAD, as OJ spectrometers. After this, in 1969, Bamberg used the electrostatic analyzer and showed that it was more sensitive than any analyzer used before. The first scanning OJ microscope, or we call it SAM, with 5 micrometer lateral resolution came in market in 1973. Use of lanthanum hexaboride filaments and beta electron optics improved the spatial resolution to about 50 nanometer by the end of 1970. About 10 years later, introduction of Schottky field emitters led to a spatial resolution value nearly 3 to 10 nanometer. Even in 1985, XPS became more popular as a tool for material research than AES, though AES has good application as in surface and grain boundary separation studies resolution in high spatial resolution, and in depth related profiling such as diffusion and interfacial reactions. Now, to start with, we need to know what is AES. AES, or OJ electron spectroscopy, is a surface analytical technique, and it was the first technique used for surface analysis of solid materials, followed by X-ray induced photoelectron spectroscopy, and it uses the OJ electrons emitted from an electron beam interaction with the sample to determine elemental information about the surface of the sample. The OJ electrons are typically very low energy electrons, less than 2000 volts. These electrons can only escape from the top, that is 50 angstrom of the sample. This makes OJ electron spectroscopy an ideal tool for examining the surface of a sample. OJ spectroscopy is capable of uniquely identifying each element and is essentially a surface probe, as the data comes from the top 5 atom layers or so, depending upon the material and the ionization energies. Minute amounts of surface contaminants down to at least the 1012 atoms per centimeter square range have been detected under ideal conditions. This would correspond to bulk concentration of 1018 centimeter cube range. In a typical AES experiment, the sample is irradiated with a focused beam of primary electrons of sufficiently high energy. This energy is about 1 to 20 kilo electron volt, and it is supplied from an electron gun. The primary electron penetrate the sample up to a range of the order of 0.1 to 1 micrometer depending on their energy. As a result, different electron orbitals of the target atoms are ionized within the excitation depth, and subsequently electrons from outer shells can fill up the ionized states. The energy released by this process either result in a photon, that is X-ray emission, or is transmitted to another electron in an outer level, that is emitted from the atom as a so-called OJ electron. OJ electrons possesses characteristic energies which are well defined by the involved electron level of the analyzed element. This characteristic energy can be detected if the electrons emitted by each excited atom leave the surface without inelastic scattering of the solid in the solid. Their inelastic mean free path, or more precisely, their attenuation length, including inelastic and elastic scattering, is strongly dependent on the OJ electron energy and typically is between 0.3 to 3 nanometer. For the same kinetic energy, attenuation lengths of AES and XPS are practically equal, and surface specificity of both technique is a direct result of its small value, corresponding to an information depth of a few monolayer from the surface. OJ electrons are superimposed on a large and smoothly varying background consisting of inelastic scattered primary and secondary electrons. Because of this fact, OJ electrons are usually presented in the differentiated mode. Now, an important understanding here is what is the surface. We need to understand the surface. Before going into depth of OJ electron spectroscopy, we will discuss the term surface. So, according to IUPAC, the term surface can be distinguished in three terminologies, such as the surface in general, physical surface, and the experimental surface. The surface term is to be used in general discussion of the outside regions of the sample. Physical surface is the outermost atomic layer of a sample, and this outermost atomic layer would be in direct contact with the vacuum when the sample was placed in vacuum. Experimental surface is that fraction of the surface with which there is a considerable interaction with irradiated radiation or photon. OJ electron spectroscopy, or AES, relies on the primary electron beam interacting with orbital electrons in the sample to generate a signal. When the electron beam strikes the sample, the incident electrons can knock orbital electrons into higher states. When these electrons decay back into the lower state, either an X-ray can be emitted on the basis of EDS, or decay can kick an OJ electron out from the atom on the basis of AES. These electrons have a low energy and thus a very small mean free path, around 10 to 15 angstrom. Because of this, only OJ electron from the top 10 to 50 angstrom are emitted from the sample. OJ electrons that do escape the sample can be collected and analyzed. The energy levels can be quantized to produce a spectra. OJ electrons have characteristic energies depending on the orbital decay and atomic species. This is shown in figure 3. These characteristic energies can be identified providing the analyst with identification of the sample material. Like EDS, OJ electron spectroscopy provides identification of elements but does not allow the good quantitative analysis. Here we will have a look on different types of electrons, such as secondary electrons, backscattered electrons and Auger electrons. Backscattered electrons are elastically scattered, where the scattering effect is dependent on the atomic number of the atom, as can be seen from the figure first one. The higher the atomic number, the more backscattered electrons will be elastically scattered and collected by the detector, showing a lighter contrast compared to an atom with a lower atomic number. BSE mode or backscattered electron mode is useful for viewing different phases and precipitate in the nanostructure and does not require the sample to be etched. From this figure second, it can be seen that the secondary electrons or SE will be emitted from inelastic collisions with electrons in the k orbital of the specimen's atom. You can see also that after ejection of electron from k orbital, another electron comes from higher orbital to fill the hole of k orbital. Then at the same time, loosely bound electron go out of the shell. That electron is called Auger electron. The main information comes from the core level and the Auger peaks. The nomenclature employed to describe Auger electron spectroscopy features is based on the momenta associated with the orbiting paths of electrons around atomic nuclei, indicated by the quantum numbers n, l, and j. And yet, the translation into the notation is different from both techniques. From the table, you can see the principal quantum number n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. Then L is equal to 0, 1, 2 and so on, indicated by S, P, D and so on respectively. And finally, the J value given as a suffix half, 3 by 2, 5 by 2 and so on. The AES nomenclature, on the contrary, usually follows the X-ray notation. The states with n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on are designated by K, L, M and so on, while the combinations of L and J are given in the suffix 1, 2, 3 and so on. In general, AES peaks are broader than XPS peaks. This is related to the complex multiple splitting due to the number of final states. After the transition that are permitted from the table, we can analyze. The KLL series for sample consisting of 5 components, that is KL1, L1, gives only one transition. KL1, L2 and 3 gives 2 transition, and KL2, 3, L2, 3 gives 3 transitions, for which one is forbidden. 2 elements contribute to the peak broadening in solid species. This is peak overlap in the multiple structure and solid state broadening. Now about other representations of Auger electrons. Auger electrons can be represented using some other notations, since it is common to omit the subscripts when referring to the group of Auger emissions involving the same principal quantum numbers. For example, the term silicon KLL is used to refer the whole group of KLL emissions from silicon. Similar generalizations can be used for emissions involving core or valence electrons. It is not uncommon to see terms such as NW, which refers to the Auger emissions, in which an electron is removed from the n orbital to be replaced by an electron from the valence shell, causing a second valence electron to be emitted. Even more general, in the term CVV, in which the C refers to any core electron using the approach a CCC transition indicates the involvement of 3 electrons from the core level. In general, it is the CCC OJ transition which provide chemical information in OJ electron spectroscopy. Now about principle of OJ electron spectroscopy. In the first step, sample is irradiated with electron. Those have energy greater than the binding energy of the electron in that shell. So, irradiated with electrons, then a hole is created on the K shell. To make ionization more efficient, typical primary energies of about 5 times the binding energy is taken, that is about 5 to 10 kilo electron volt for initial ionization setup. The OJ effect is an electronic process resulting from the inter and intrastate transitions of electrons in an excited atom. When an atom is probed by an external mechanism, such as a photon or a beam of electrons with energies in the range of several electron volts to 50 kilo electron volt, a core state electron can be removed, leaving behind a hole. A core state electron can be removed, leaving behind a hole. As this is the unstable state, the core hole can be filled by an outer shell electron, whereby the electron moving to the lower energy level loses an amount of energy equal to the difference of the orbital energies. The transition energy can be coupled to a second outer shell electron. The transition energy can be coupled to a second outer shell electron, which will be emitted from the atom if the transferred energy is greater than the orbital binding energy. Upon ejection, the kinetic energy of the OJ electron corresponds to the difference between the energy of the initial electronic transition into the vacancy and the ionization energy for the electron shell from which the OJ electron was ejected. These energy levels depends on the type of atoms and the chemical environment in which the atom was located. OJ electron spectroscopy involves the emission of OJ electrons by bombarding a sample with either X-rays or energetic electrons and measures the intensity of OJ electrons that result as a function of the OJ electron energy. The resulting spectra can be used to determine the identity of the emitting atoms and some information about their environment. OJ recombination is a similar OJ effect which occurs in semiconductors. An electron hole, that is electron hole pair, can recombine, giving up their energy to an electron in the conduction band, increasing its energy. The reverse effect is known as impact ionization. From the figure, it can be seen that a hole is created on the K level in the initial ionization step. This requires a primary energy greater than the binding energy of the electron in that shell. For the ionization to be efficient, a primary energy of about 5 times the binding energy is taken. In practice, typical primary energies are 5 and 10 kilo electron volt. The hole can be produced by either the primary beam or the backscattered secondary electrons. The atoms relaxes by filling the hole with an electron coming from an outer level. In the example shown as L1, As a result, the energy difference Ek minus EL1 becomes available as excess energy, which can be used into two ways. The emission of an X-ray at that energy may occur, or the energy may be given to another electron, either in the same level or in a more shallow one, as it is the case in the example to be ejected. Is the first of the two competing processes is X-ray fluorescence, and the second one is OJ emission. A clear transition from electron to photon emission is evident in this chart for increasing atomic number. For heavier elements, X-ray yield becomes greater than OJ yield, indicating an increased difficulty in measuring the OJ peaks for large Z values. Conversely, OJ electron spectroscopy is sensitive to the lighter elements, and unlike X-ray fluorescence, OJ peaks can be detected from elements as light as lithium, Z is equal to 3. Lithium represents the lower limit of OJ electron spectroscopy sensitivity, since the OJ effect is a three-state event necessitating at least 3 electrons. Neither hydrogen nor helium can be detected with this technique. For K-level based transitions, OJ effects are dominant for Z less than 15, while L and M level transitions. OJ electron spectroscopy data can be measured for Z less than or equal to 50. The yield limits effectively prescribe a cutoff of the OJ electron sensitivity, but complex techniques can be utilized to identify heavier elements such as uranium and americium using the OJ effect. On the other hand, the decrease in X-ray fluorescence with decreased energy is expected, since X-ray emission is an electromagnetic, that is dipole, electromagnetic radiation process and depends upon the acceleration experienced by the orbiting electrons. The OJ process, on the other hand, depends on the electrostatic forces produced by incomplete shells. The high efficiency of this process is illustrated by the fact that the transitions take only about 10 to the power minus 16 seconds, about the time it takes the electron to make a single orbit. The OJ transition represented in previous slide is called KL1L23. The kinetic energy of KL1L23 electron is approximately equal to the difference between the energies of the core hole and the energy level of the two outer electrons. The kinetic energy is given by the following equation: EKL1L23 is equal to EK minus EL1 minus EL23, where K indicates the level of ionization, L1 is the level where the second electron involved in the transition comes from, and L2 and 3 are the level from which the OJ electron is emitted. It is clear from the above equation that KL23L23 transition second and third term of the above equation are identical, and the expression can be simplified to EKL3L23 is equal to EKZ minus EL23Z minus EL23Z plus 1. This equation does not depend upon the type of source, that is X-ray or electrons used in OJ electron spectroscopy. Thus, OJ electron spectroscopy spectra are always plotted on the kinetic energy scale. Electrons present far from core electron are indistinguishable. We cannot distinguish which electron will go out of shell because electrons are present in a same shell and any one electron can be ejected. OJ transition also depends upon the location of core hole and location of finer two-hole. In general, since the initial ionization is non-selective and the initial hole may therefore be in various shells, there will be many possible OJ transitions for a given element, some weak and some strong in intensity. OJ spectroscopy is based upon the measurement of the kinetic energies of the emitted electrons. Each element in a sample being studied will give rise to a characteristic spectrum of peaks at various kinetic energies. OJ electron spectroscopy spectra are represented in the differentiated form because AES peaks are superimposed on an important background of different types of secondary electrons. Note that the LLM peaks of copper in the OJ electron spectroscopy and in the X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy spectrum are at different energies. This is because both techniques do not use the same energy scale. Kinetic energies for OJ electron spectroscopy spectra against binding energies for XPS spectra. The energy position of X-ray and electron-induced OJ transitions differ by a value h nu that can be seen from the figure. The energy of the X-ray radiation, if in XPS the X-ray source is changed from magnesium K alpha to aluminum K alpha, the position of XPS peaks remains while the AES peaks move around 233 electron volt. This allows the two types of peaks to be easily distinguishable. OJ electrons are affected by backscattering factors. Backscattering factors depends on the energy and the angle of incidence of the primary beam, and they influence the intensities as well as the spatial distribution of the detected OJ electrons. This figure shows aluminum KLL peak, and the sample consists of a 40 nanometer thick aluminum layer on gold. It can be seen that by increasing the energy of primary beam, peaks of backscattering intensity is reduced, where IP is the primary beam induced signal and IB is the signal induced by backscattered electrons. OJ electron spectroscopy utilizes analyzers to analyze electrons. Here we will discuss these in brief only. So electron energy analyzers have been made upon an electrostatic or magnetic principle. Although magnetic instrument with high resolution, that is the order of 10 millivolt or better, have been constructed. These will not be discussed here due to their complexity and stringent requirements on magnetic shielding. There are two classes of electrostatic analyzers: the dispersive and the retarding field. On the retarding field type, the LEED OJ device, which uses the LEED or low energy electron diffraction electron optics as the energy analyzer. It has become very popular. The LED OJ and cylindrical mirror device will be discussed here for the following reasons. Number one, they have high sensitivity. They have been successfully operated close to the theoretical limit of sensitivity, which is imposed by short noise. Their construction and operation are relatively simple. And the third point is they can be combined with other experimental techniques such as lead, electron microscope, and the scanning electron microscope, etc. Now about the advantages of OJ electron spectroscopy. There are many advantages associated with this technique, such as small area analysis as small as 30 nanometer, have high surface sensitivity for lighter elements, and it provides faster depth profiling. It provides surface and subsurface analysis which can be performed. Quantitative analysis of the samples for both major and minor elements can be obtained at the angstrom scale. Except hydrogen and helium atom, OJ electrons are generated from all other elements. Consequently, OJ spectroscopy can be used to detect almost all elements in the near surface region of the solids. This is a major advantage associated with this technique. After discussion about OJ electron spectroscopy, we can conclude that OJ electron spectroscopy is a surface sensitive spectroscopic technique used for elemental analysis of surfaces, and it offers high sensitivity for all elements except hydrogen and helium, and a means of monitoring surface cleanliness of samples. OJ electrons are indistinguishable because electrons are present far from core electrons. OJ spectra are represented in the differentiated form is preferred in comparison to the integrated one, that is usually directly measured spectra is a bit outdated. Nowadays, the sensitivity of state-of-art AES spectrometers are good enough to allow the direct measurement, and people are able to evaluate the peaks as in XPS, that is by peak fitting softwares, etc. Now, if we compare OJ electron spectroscopy with XPS, it is found that quantification of OJ data is more complex and accuracy obtained is generally not so good as compared to XPS. XPS can make a meaningful comparison between similar type specimens. Both methods, that is XPS and OJ electron spectroscopy, can be made on same instrument due to complementary nature. Both methods have been considered as the most important methods of surface analysis in the context of material science. Thus, all electron spectrometer manufacturers offer both XPS and AES options in their systems. OJ electron spectroscopy has excellent spatial resolution, that is about 150 angstrom, which is reasonable, it has a reasonable detection limit, that is less than 0.5 atomic percentage, good quantification with standards, and excellent speed. The main limitation of OJ electron spectroscopy is its diminished ability to analyze insulators. Some insulators, especially silicon nitride, are very difficult to analyze. Thank you so much.